welcome to my 43rd video. Thank you so much for joining me if you are a return subscriber, or hello if you are new. My name's Adrina, I'm an Australian teacher, currently on a break at the moment trying to figure out this whole Teacherpreneur online space, selling my teaching resources and clip art on Teachers Pay Teachers. In today's video, I thought it'd be helpful to somebody out there to basically break down and show you guys exactly how I organize my clip art folders to be able to upload seamlessly to Teachers Pay Teachers when I'm uploading a product. So when I first started on my first store, I remember making all these different kind of products and I kind of just saved them, chucked them in a file and was like, yep, wham bam, thank you ma'am. And I just eventually realized that was not sustainable, not maintainable, and it was just plain disorganized and just not really too good, to be honest. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out a way to sort out my files. I didn't know how everyone else did their files because I just didn't know, because no one was really sharing that. So I thought maybe this video might be helpful, because over time I've realized I can't just keep putting them in a folder. I need to have a process and a sequence and a system for me to be able to go back to it if I need to edit any products, or if I need to kind of edit the whole listing itself. So hopefully what I'm going to explain to you guys will make sense. It makes sense in my head, so hopefully it'll make sense to you. I'm just going to show you guys, and I'm going to try my best to make it so you can kind of understand it as well. Now I know everyone has their own different way of organizing their files, but I thought why not share this, because if you are a clip artist just starting out and you're like overwhelmed with it all, or you're just trying to think like, how do I navigate this whole clip art thing, then you know, having this as a foundation might be able to help you just to start, and then you can find your own process and your own system that works for you. For me, this is a system that I've had now for pretty much majority of Tealazzo, majority of a whole year now, and it really works for me, and I really enjoy the way that I have like structured it, because literally when I go to Teachers Pay Teachers, if I need to edit it, or if I need to access that file, I know where it is and I know how, like what document I need to use to basically edit it or fix it or whatever the case is. So I'm gonna break that down for you. So while we're speaking about files, in my last video, I also showed you that I updated my background on my computer. And with that, I updated my files, and I was so chuffed with that. I was like literally so excited that I figured out how to do that. I'm going to share with you guys how to do that so you guys can customize and make your folders look nice and pretty, or whatever you want to do. And I might even throw in a freebie in there too, and I'll put it on Tealazzo clip art. So definitely stay tuned throughout the video so you can kind of know what I'm going to be doing with that and where to access that download. Without further ado, enough rambling, Adrina, let's get into the video. Let's go. Okay, hi guys. I'm going to try and make this as quick as I can, but I'm going to try and make it detailed so you can kind of understand the process. I know it can be a little bit confusing what I'm going to basically be telling you guys about, but I hope that I can explain it in a way that makes sense. So I've just opened my hard drive up, and this is going to basically give you a little sneak peek behind the scenes really of how I organize my folders and my files. And this is more specific to ClipArt, but I do a very similar system in my first store as well. So I've opened up my hard drive, and then within my hard drive, so I've got a little Tealazzo business folder, and from in that folder I have my Tealazzo clip art section. This is all the clip art that I have made over this pretty much whole year and a little bit that I've been on Tealazzo creating clip art. So obviously when I first started there was only a couple, and then as the time has gone I've obviously expanded, and it's kind of just like grown and grown. So I want to show you, I've just highlighted these in red because they're the ones I want to show you. But basically when I save a folder, I have different sections, and these different sections act purposefully to me in order for me to be able to upload to TPT in a seamless way that is kind of organized and it doesn't get too crazy in my own mind. You might have a better way of doing it. You might have a more simpler way. I don't know. But for me, I have tried just putting it all in one folder, but that didn't really work for me. So I needed to have a system that was consistent through every single clip art set that I created, so I knew exactly where that thing was. I came across this problem when I first started my first store, and I was just saving things in a folder, and I was like having different copies of the same thing, and I was just confused as to what was the actual final version and all that kind of stuff. And so that basically led me to creating this system. So within my folders, let's just look at this one. These are rainbows, and within the rainbows, these are a set that I've done recently. I have obviously 3 different sets in here. So I've got my 1 boho rainbow set 1 neutrals, my boho set 2 textures, and then I've got my boho rainbow set 3 flower brights. So within these 3 folders, you'll be able to see these did not change. Now, I needed to have a system like this that was consistent so that it made my process and my systems of uploading so much more easier. But not only that, it made it accessible for me to be able to, if I needed to edit any part of it, I knew where to go for it. So basically, when I start off with a folder, let's just have a look at this folder. I'll send my Clipart over from Procreate. The first thing that I'll do is basically send it to this Clipart folder. And so I should basically, I say basically way too much, but I will just share with you guys what is in this folder. So I have obviously the name of the normal title of the folder. And then in this section here, I've got what's called masters as number 1 with a red highlight, a red circle, should say, not a highlight, red circle. Underneath I have in green final, and then in yellow here, number 3, I have just Clipart folder. So I love this color coding system because the red to me basically symbolizes PowerPoint editable files, and just like copies that I know that are the things that I can sort of edit or I need to be able to edit the files basically. The green means these are the last final versions of everything before uploading. So this is the folder, this is the only folder that I will access to put onto TPT. I won't grab anything out of the red masters folder to upload. It will only be from this green section, the final. And for the yellow folder, Clipart folder, this is just where I put my folder before I compress it and put it into my final folder. And I will show you after I explain this exactly how I would do that. So within my masters folder, I have what's called files, big preview, and little preview. So I've made these names pretty simplistic because that is just what I have called them from day dot, and that's what I will continue to call them basically. So the little preview is basically just your thumbnails and your cover photos. So my little preview, I'll show you real quick. This is just going to be the editable version of my little preview. So you'll see here, little preview here, editable. I can edit it, I can change it, I can do whatever I want to that to change it if I needed to. All right, let's get out of that. My big preview, number 2, is here. Now this section gets a little bit more complicated because I have 3 files in here, and I usually always have 3 files in here. Because what I usually have is I have my editable big preview here, and so you'll be able to see I can move things around just like I did with my little preview. And then I will have here a PDF. This is a big preview PDF. So that was the PDF exported from this PowerPoint presentation. This is what it turned out to be as a PDF. But you'll notice I have one more file in here. And the reason why I have one more file is because at the moment, if I was to use this PDF and upload it as a preview, someone could just easily download this, copy, and then literally, oh, sorry, that's a little product I'm working on at the moment. Get out of that. And they could literally just copy and paste, and they could steal the clip art off that. So I don't use that as my big preview because it's just not secure or flattened. So because it's not secure and flattened, I have to actually create a whole brand new PowerPoint presentation. It looks exactly the same, but what I have to do is basically manually from this preview that I just showed you, that's the one that you can take things off, I have to manually screenshot each of these pages, and then I have to open up a brand new PowerPoint presentation, which would be this one called flattened, and I have to insert it as the background. And that is how you basically flatten your work for free. And You guys, it's a very tedious process. I definitely probably do not recommend, but I'm so used to it. It's free for me. It takes me a little bit extra, but I'm so fast at doing it now. It's not too much of a bother. So I think that's why I've been lazy to not upgrade to a different tool to be able to do it. But I'm sure when I upgrade, I'm like, why did I do this for so long? But that is, something just to keep in mind if you are just beginning and you want a free way to basically be able to flatten your work. This is the one way that I've been able to do it. So anyway, from this flattened version, then what I would do, I would basically export it, and then that would be exported into my final big preview folder, and that would be that one there. Because if you can see here, if I was to go into my final big preview, so final big preview, if I was to open that one, you'll see I can only, if I was to copy that, and I keep getting that, get out of there. And if I was to paste that, it would take the whole thing. It wouldn't just take them individually. So that's one thing that is important to note and to make sure that you do with your work. So then at least if someone tries to copy that, they're taking the whole picture. They're not just taking the little individual images that they can do. And that's kind of sort of also why I've got these little cross marks in the background as well, and some of them to kind of just help limit that someone trying to take it. Yeah, so that is what I would do for that big preview. I'll have the 3, just reiterating that. So I have my beginning big preview as the editable PowerPoint. I would then export it and it would turn into this PDF. From this PDF, I would have to take screenshots that I would have on my desktop, and then I would open a brand new PowerPoint document and I would insert all of those screenshots into that flattened version, and then from that flattened version I'd have to export it and turn it into a PDF to go into my final folder, and that would be the final big preview that I would upload. Again, I'm really sorry if you're not following along, if this is really confusing to you, because I know when you first start out it's pretty overwhelming, and this might even just be confusing to you. But hopefully I'm able to try and explain it a little bit more in a minute if that is something that you're struggling with. But basically, in my masters, like I said, I'll have my little preview, which I showed you, my big preview, which I showed you. My files is something that if I need another space for additional files that I used for the actual product, then I will add that in here. I use that more so in a system that I have similar basically in my first store, where I have the files that I would include in there. But when it's Clipart, I don't really have extra files that I would use in our products. I don't really use that much, but I like to have it there anyway, just to keep the consistency and just in case there is any files extra that I want to add into that. So anyway, I've got my masters folder, and then basically I have my final. Now, this is the final version of things, and this is my Clipart folder. So this is where all of my Clipart would be stored first. So if I was to basically make a Clipart set on Procreate, my first thing would be create this folder, create it up. I won't even say that. I'm going to show you because that will make so much more sense. But I will just quickly show you this first before I show you exactly how I do it. So my final folder has a zip folder. This is the first thing that you upload. So if I go to TPT now, okay, so if I was to go to TPT now and I was to upload a product, so I would go into here, my digital download, you'll see the way I've kind of structured it is similar to the file. So basically, I'd write my title of my product. My downloadable file will be this zip file, and I would select that. I would select that in there. And then this is the big preview, which I just click down. I would click in the big preview, that I would select that. And then I would scroll down a little bit further. I'd go to upload thumbnails, and then in this, I would go into my little preview in my final folder, and I would just select each one of these to upload. That's how it makes it super simple. The sections of how I've got it organized here is zip folder, because that's the first file that gets attached. Then when you scroll down, it's the big preview, so I know that's number 2. And then 3 is my little previews and how I would upload those. Now I'm going to show you, because it might make much more sense to you if I show you exactly how I do it. Okay, so it's going to be much easier if I basically just show you how I do this. So if I was to make a clip art set on Procreate right now, and I was wanting to put it up into my folders here, the first thing I would do would go to my folder templates. Now, the folder templates, just like you make a template for TPT, I've got a template here that I literally will just copy and paste. So I've made these folders, as you can see, and they're all empty at the moment. So all empty, there's nothing in them. And all I would do is just copy these first three, right click copy. I would go back to my Tealazzo clip art section. I would just go down to the bottom. I would create a new folder first, or put it wherever I wanted to put it. So maybe let's just keep it all in one section. Let's go put it in the rainbow section. So there's a new folder here. I would then rename the folder. So let's, for example, say this is the 4th set. So I would name it boho rainbow. Let's just say greens, for example. Say they're green rainbows. I would click that. I would then paste that folder template, which I got from my folder template file, and so I have this template system. What I would do then basically is, say if I had just exported all my Procreate files or my PNGs to my computer, and I wanted all my boho green rainbows, for example, I would then put them in this clip art folder first. So I'd paste them all in there. And this is just obviously not the actual product, but this is just an example. I would paste them all in here. And then what I would do is I would go and I would open up PowerPoint. I would use my template on PowerPoint to create my little preview. And then I would use a template I have again to make my big preview, which I'd save in here. And then I would do the whole thing of the big preview. And then I would do the PDF from that preview, and then I would do the flattened version of that preview. So it's like a 3-step thing here. Then from that flattened version, then I would export it to go into my big preview. And then from my little preview master folder, I would export them as JPEGs. So my little, I'll show you, like this little, sorry, not my final. This little section, I would export these. When I was ready and finished with them, I would go File, Export, and then I would save them in my final section in my little preview here. And you can see them there. That's what I would do until I've got everything in my final folder filled. So my zip folder would have to be there, and to get my zip folder, the way I would do that would be I'd make a name for my folder here. I have all of my clip art inside here, and all I would do is I would right click and I would press, on a Mac at least, I don't know about a PC, it might have something a little different, it might not, it might be similar, but for me on a Mac I would press compress, and you'll see what happens. So it'll compress the folder and it will put it all into one. And then what I usually do from that is, from this compressed folder, which is the final version that your buyer will receive, is I would move that over, put it into my final, and then I'd put that into my zip folder file, and that would go in there. And obviously there's already one in there, so I'll just stop that. Okay, so I know that's super, like, a little bit confusing. If you were just starting out, you will probably be like, what in the world is this girl going on about? But basically, this is the best I can kind of explain it. It was something that, you know, in my head it makes so much sense because I'm so used to doing it. But if someone was watching this trying to figure out what is this girl doing with her folders, you might be finding it a little bit tricky to understand. So that's basically how I've organized it and arranged it basically. And you can see here through all of these. So I've got the same thing all throughout. These are my question mark clip art sets, and they all are the same within here. Now you'll see that I've used color in these as well. So all these green ones basically mean that they're complete. Sometimes I use color to indicate to myself like if it's complete or if it's, you know, not complete. So sometimes I'll use green for, yep, that's all done, it's been uploaded. I don't always do this, as you can see in some of other ones, but sometimes I will, and it's like when I'm working on a big project, like how many there were here. So these yellow ones here, they're ones that are incomplete. So if I was to go in here, you might see that there might be the clip art version of them, but there's no big preview, there's no little preview, there's nothing else that I have done for that one. So it's just the clip art. So it's just waiting to be made. So these are all clip art that I'm, wanting to put up, but I haven't done yet. So that's sort of what it looks like on the end of when it's not finished. So if you can see here, this is one that is finished. So I've got my clip art in that section. My final version will have my zip folder, it'll have my big preview and my little preview. And this one actually has two, because sometimes I might have to make it really like a different version because I've made a mistake on that. Say if I've got a spelling mistake and I've had to re-export it out. So that's probably what happened there. So I had to have an updated version there. And then my masters will just have nothing in the files, but in the big preview will have those three, like the flattened, the normal, editable, and then the PDF. And then, yeah. So I hope that sort of makes some sort of sense. If it doesn't, I do apologize, but I hope at least you kind of got a little behind the scenes look of what's going on here for me in my folders. You might have a completely different system, and it might work for you, and if it works for you, amazing. I guess my goal of this video is really just, if you are someone starting out, just definitely take the time to try and keep your things organized to the way that you can access them as easy as possible, because over time, when you start getting a lot of different things, you'll notice that, it all adds up. And if someone as like a buyer comments, oh, this is not the right product, or this needs to be updated, or you've left this out of here, then you as a seller can be like, okay, if someone's asked you a question about, one of your clip art sets, so you could go to that clip art set and you could easily find the big preview and little preview without having to look too hard into it, instead of it just all being in one jumbled mess in one folder, if that makes any sense. Now, this does take a little while to organize, but if you haven't started your clip art journey yet, and you've been looking into kind of clip art and whatever, or you just only got a few products, then definitely try and create your own little system that makes it easy for you to access and easy for you to get to. I know there's some amazing people that have really organized, as like the buyer, they've organized their clip art sets so nicely, and they've even got pictures on them and everything. And that is awesome. Also, just a quick one, if you are wanting to take away or add colors to your folders on a Mac, all you need to do is literally right click and you'll see these colors down here, and you can just easily give it a color. So you can color code things to however you like. Like for me, like I said, sometimes I'll have like orange or yellow as like incomplete, and then green as, yep, it's been done and uploaded. So that kind of just tells me what is still awaiting to be uploaded, or just if I have uploaded that or not. And they're things that you have to update though, but if you just want to take it off, you can just literally click it and it goes away. Now for the fun part, you guys. This has been longer than I expected or anticipated. So now for the fun part, I'm going to show you now how you can see my desktop screen. You can see all these cool custom folders here. So I'm going to show you now how to change them and get them like this. It's super easy, it doesn't take too much time, so let me show you. So all you need to do is create a new folder, or whatever folder you have, an existing folder, and first of all, you do need to have some artwork for it. So I've bought some things off Etsy. I've got these boho folders, and I've actually made my own as well. And so I'm going to basically just show you. So these are the little folders that I bought off Etsy. It's proper cute. All right, so say if I wanted to change my blue folder to this folder, all I need to do is open the folder up, go edit, click copy, get out of it. I would then click on my blue folder. I would right click and I would click get info. Once I've got into the get info, I would just click this little blue folder here that says untitled folder. Make sure you select the picture. I would just go edit, and then I would just go paste. And you'll see this little part here change, and you'll see this change on your desktop. When I figured this out, or when I, researched to figure it out and found out how to do that, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to change the game of my customization on my computer. So you can just name it whatever you want. So like Clipart folder or whatever. And okay, and so it does also work too if you were to insert a new folder into the actual folder, and you could just do the same thing. You would just click on it, right click, get info, click it on again, edit and paste. And you'll see it actually change in here. So what you could do is you could even, like, if you had a picture of your clip art, then you could easily change it to that picture instead of a folder. So let me just try this out actually. I haven't done this yet. So let me just go and let's just trial it out here. So go to my rainbows and let's have a look if we can do this. So let's go to my final little preview. Let's just open it up first. Open it up, edit, copy, and then I'm going to actually see if I can change this here. So get info, I'm sure I can, I just haven't done it. Paste, edit and paste, and perfect. So you'll be able to see that's what that looks like as a picture, and you could do it again to all of your other clip art sets if you wanted to get that organized. Now, the reason why I'm saying open it and press copy instead of just copying it is because I have played around with it, and if you don't, if you do it just copy without opening it up, sometimes it doesn't work. So that's why. So that's that. All right, so I'm going to do this one more time to this last one. So go into my final, little preview, I'll get that picture. So I'm going to click edit, copy, get out of it. I'm going to click on this folder, right click, get info, click on the blue folder, edit, paste. Okay, so you can see how cool you can actually start to organize your folders. And that is basically it, you guys. Okay guys, that is basically that. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope maybe that my system made sense to you with how I store and organize my files. For me, it's been extremely helpful to have this process because it's like a rinse and repeat type of thing. I save them in all of those folders. So little preview, big preview, and all the other parts that I explained in the video basically. So if I need to go and access any of those folders, if I need to change the thumbnail, I know exactly where to go for it, and it's just in a nice set up way for me to know exactly where everything is. Now with that said, please tell me down below. I'm curious as to what you guys do with how you organize your files. If you're not a clip artist or you're looking to be one, then definitely, if this was helpful, give it a thumbs up so I know that I'm on the right track with creating content like this. So thank you once again for your time today. If you haven't checked out some of my other videos, feel free to check them out, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks guys, adios.